All right, Amy, welcome to the show. We were just chatting that you've made a few therapist friends already, and so I'm potentially becoming one of those. But thanks for being on today, and how's it going?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and chat a little bit about Facebook ads for therapists. Yeah, I've got a couple other good friends that are therapists in the therapy world. So, worked on some Facebook ads for them. So hopefully I've got some good tips to share with
Definitely.
everybody.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. How what should we know about you, or kind of how did you end up here?
So I'll give you the short version of the
Okay.
story. I actually got started with Facebook ads because I owned a local business. I had a brick and mortar retail store. And this was back when Facebook ads were just rolling out, like they were brand new. We didn't have all the fancy options that we have now. And I ran a lot of really bad ads that tanked, that bombed. So it took me a while to figure it out. So eventually I kind of started to figure out what was working for my business. And then eventually I decided to leave the brick and mortar business because I was stuck in my store 7 days a week to move online. So now all I do are Facebook ads all
Yeah,
day, every day. So I've had a lot of practice with them
that's
at this
awesome.
point.
Quite
Yeah.
quite the lifestyle adjustment too. Then from being in the business all day or in the store all day
Yeah.
to probably doing whatever you want now, or at least
I
waking
know.
up when you want and closing up shop when you want, so to speak.
It's so nice. I used to call my store, I would say it was my fish bowl because I had all these big, beautiful windows, but I would just sit in there and watch everybody walk by like they're going to the pool or they're going out to lunch. And it was like, oh, I want to do that, So it was a good move. It's worked out. It's worked out for the best.
Do you feel like there were also kind of growing pains of just working online, or maybe still any growing pains you experience from not having that store to go to, or that place to go to, or a group of people to kind of clock in with each day?
Yeah, I mean it is an adjustment because you do go from actually leaving the house. And so especially in the winter when it's cold, like I have to make myself leave. It's like, oh, I haven't left the house in a few days. Like I need to go see people and like
Yeah.
interact with people. So that is kind of an adjustment is getting used to that because yeah, it's just me in my office. I've got team, but everyone's virtual. All of the clients are virtual. So, it's rare that you actually get to hang out with people in person. So it was an adjustment, but honestly, I mean, I love it. I wouldn't go back to, running a store, but that was 7 days a week, holidays, weekends, like that
Sure.
just, it was too much. So yeah, but I've got the cats and the dogs that keep me
Nice.
company during the day. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, working from home with pets. We could do a whole episode on that.
I know, right?
Um, yeah, I have to be careful also as well because I'm recording this at home, and I have two cats and a dog, and at least one of them will try to make an appearance on the show
Yep.
if I don't remember to put them elsewhere,
Yep.
or make sure they can't get by the door, and there's like a really subtle meow for 40 minutes of an episode. That's a great way to ruin an episode or enhance it, depending on how you look at it. I don't
Yeah.
know. Some people might
Oh,
like
it's
it.
it's totally happened. I feel like I've got two cats and two dogs. So I feel like one of them will make an appearance somehow, like
Yeah,
especially when I do webinars. It's like that's when they want
always.
to start talking and chatting. And I'm like, you guys, or like the UPS guy shows up
Right,
and the
right.
dogs lose it. Yeah.
It's like the cat knows you're doing a webinar, and they're like, it's a chance for them to get in front of an audience too, and make
So
an
true.
impression.
One of my cats only pays attention to me if I'm on Skype or if I'm doing video or a webinar. And then she wants to like sashay in front of the computer. So yeah, for sure. But I gave her some treats and she's curled up on the couch right now.
Yeah, that's good. Keep her occupied.
Yeah, we'll see how long it lasts.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one question I had for you, not really related to Facebook ads, but running a digital team, and again, not having that kind of place, or even like that water cooler to gather around.
Yeah.
Um, there's the negative that happens with that, or a lot of like just wandering and useless meetings that happen in the workplace or in a traditional workplace, right? Or a lot of gossiping.
Right.
And yet there's also the water cooler can bring people together, or people can talk about like their shared struggles or their shared successes. So how do you create that with a remote digital team?
So we'll do virtual happy hours where we just like pick one night after work, like not too late, but we'll just kind of hang out and just have fun, tell stories, chat about what shows we're watching on Netflix and what everybody's up to, because yeah, you do miss out on that. And it's not, I mean, I know we're running a business, but it's not always about the work all the time, right? You've got to have some fun. So I think it is really important to surround yourself, clients, people you work with people that you love being around, that you have fun with. So we're cracking jokes, but yeah, like those virtual happy hours, since we can't be together in person, like those are a lot of fun just to hang out and not talk about work.
Yeah.
For a change.
That's important. That's really important. Cool. So so you went on this this journey from owning a brick and mortar business, running some not so effective Facebook ads for that business, and then obviously learning quite a bit in launching what is now a business entirely based on running Facebook ads for businesses, right? Yeah,
I mean that's all we do, just Facebook ads. Yep. So it's crazy.
Can you shed some light on what business owners should know, and how it differs for, let's say, a business owner trying to promote their private practice, right? This in-person business, and also promoting something like mental health counseling, versus a product or a thing or something you can order on Amazon, or even promoting online businesses and growing your email list. So can you talk about like some different objectives and exactly. So I think it is really important, and it's definitely a little bit for therapists, because, we've got some e-commerce clients that sell, like one of our clients, they sell like a monthly lip subscription service, right? So when someone's scrolling through on Facebook and they see that they can get this little bag with these cute lip glosses, like that's an easy sell, right? Most people aren't scrolling through their Facebook feed waiting on a therapist to pop up in their feed, right? So I think one big thing to keep in mind is that you've really got to build that relationship first. You're not just going to put out an ad to get people to come in to chat with you and they're going to book right away, because they don't know who you are. They don't know how you work. They don't have an idea of your personality. So I think it's really important to, if you are going to run ads or just when you're posting on Facebook, that I think people want to get to know you first. They want to connect with you. So get an idea for your personality and how you work and the work that you do, so that when they are ready to do that work or to reach out to someone, you're the person that pops into their head. But it's a really hard sell to just pop into someone's newsfeed and say, hey, are you struggling with this? Come in and talk to me. That usually turns people off. Well, I was working with a therapist yesterday on their website copy, right? And I work a lot on this stuff and do a lot of copywriting and kind of branding work right now. But the effect was landing on the homepage of a therapist, and right away it's like, let's start psychotherapy for your addiction, for your this and that. And it's like, that's like walking up to someone and being like, let's make out, like right away, or let's do more than make out. It's a lot, right? But there's a way of warming people up, even on a single web page or on the homepage of your site, that is important. And again, it's the same way that you wouldn't just approach someone, flat out and say, buy my stuff.
Right.
So we think of it that way, digitally. And I think therapists get really caught up. And even though we're relational people and like we're experts in relationships, it doesn't translate when therapists try to do their own digital marketing or even just conceptualize their digital marketing.
Yeah. And I think that's true for a lot of people that are experts in their field. Like we get so wrapped up in what we do because we know how it works. We know what people need to do. We know all the lingo and everything. But, when you kind of switch, views and you're coming from the position of your clients, like, that's kind of like, that's too overwhelming for them, right? You're bombarding them with too much information. And I love the dating analogy. Like I love using that with Facebook ads, because you're not just going to come out and say, hey, do you want to get married? right? Like you're going to warm up to that. Like
Right.
maybe you start chatting with them a little bit and then maybe you ask them for their phone number or email or whatever. And then maybe you go on a date. So you don't just jump in and say, hey, like this is what you need help with,
Right.
because that just, that turns people off. And also on Facebook ads, it's really hard because Facebook doesn't like for us to assume things about people. So we can't assume how people are feeling. So we can't do that. So it's also against Facebook's ad policies.
So the other, I'm going to think of some of the common misconceptions that therapists have about Facebook ads and see if we can dispel them on the spot.
Yeah.
One complaint is, well, I ran Facebook ads and I didn't get any new clients from it.
Right.
Right. So what do you think's going on there?
So I hear that a lot. And usually when I ask them, I'm like, okay, well, tell me about what types of ads you were running. Usually it's because they were jumping 5 steps ahead and just trying to get someone to come in and book.
Right.
You've got to remember that it's that relationship first. And the thing is, especially if you're a local business, you don't have to spend a ton on your Facebook ads. But if you put up some great content or some great videos where people can just get to know you, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on it, you can maybe put $5, $10 a day behind it just to warm those people up, to get them used to you. And then you can start to ask people to come in. So, and you also have got to think, what's a client worth to you? You're probably not going to convert people at $3,
right,
to get someone to book, to become a client with you. So I think it's being clear on your goals and what that end goal is. And then what are those pieces that work up to that?
Well, yeah, I think therapists might have a hard time seeing the return on just getting impressions or driving more traffic to your site or getting people who are getting to know you, but are not necessarily saying, yes, I want therapy now and I'll pay your full fee and I'll come once a week and I'll, fill that spot on your calendar. And then the other thing I see with not just Facebook ads, but any kind of paid advertising is, you can spend all the money in the world to send more people to your site, but for those people who are not ready to call and pick up the phone or set that first appointment, you've got to capture those leads somehow. Right. Otherwise they're just gone, or that traffic was maybe for nothing. Or 6 months from now when they decide I need a therapist, how are they going to know where to go or what your URL was, especially if it's a tricky one or a long one or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you've got to have those. That's what you've got to think through. Like there really is a whole strategy, right? Because I know, like I've clicked on a website and then I'll completely forget about that website, right? And then if I'm lucky, hopefully they'll retarget me and then I'll see an ad. I'm like, oh wait, I totally forgot about that. Yeah. I was going to sign up for that, or I was going to do that. Sure. So it is, you do have to plan out, like, are you going to get their email? Are you going to retarget them with an ad later? So how are you going to stay in front of them so when they are ready, whether that's a few weeks or 6 months down the road, they know how to get in touch with you and how to book a time or schedule a time to come in and chat.
Can you go back a second and talk about retargeting and just real basic level, like what it is, how it's useful? Yeah. Just shed some light on that.
Yeah, so retargeting. So Facebook is amazing, and we can retarget people. We get this little pixel that you install on your website. It's nothing complicated. But this little pixel, that's one way that you can follow people. So if they come to your website, you can create an audience of everyone that's visited your website. You can also create an audience of everyone on your email list. And now we've got new audiences where we can, and this is actually really good for local businesses, where you can retarget anyone that's engaged with your Facebook post. So this is not the same as targeting your fans. It's anyone across Facebook that liked or commented on a post, so they don't have to be a fan of your page, but you can create an audience of those people. So basically, retargeting is anyone that's engaged with you, your website, your email list, or on Facebook. You can then create an ad to show to those people. Sure. So whether it's more content or it's a stronger call to action to book a time to come in and chat, that way you're staying in front of those people. So it's not just kind of like showing an ad one time and then disappearing. It's like any kind of marketing, you have to see a message how many times before.
Like touch points or
Right.
something. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So Facebook ads are the same way. Most people aren't going to buy off of that first
Sure.
Facebook ad.
So just to bring it home for some folks, so it's the effect of you were on Amazon and you looked at a book, and now that book is being is being advertised to you on
Yep.
Facebook, and you're going, wait, what the hell? How did they how did they do
How
that?
did they
Uh,
find me? Yeah.
and I think some people find it annoying, right, or kind of creepy, especially if you don't understand it, right?
Right.
Um, so, well, how do you make it not annoying? How do you make it tactful?
I think that really comes down to the content
Yeah,
that you're sharing and just, yeah, being aware that when this pops up in someone's newsfeed, that they're probably scrolling through looking at cute puppy videos and cute pictures of cats. So what is this going to do when they see that in their newsfeed? Are they going to stop and pay attention to it? Or are they going to be like, oh, what is this? And
sure.
just keep scrolling. So keeping that in mind, you've got a lot of competition on Facebook, and people are mostly there for fun and to hang out with their friends and be social. So you've got to be careful about the message
Yeah,
that you're putting, because it can come off creepy. And that's the way, Facebook found if we say things like if someone just got engaged and then all of a sudden they get bombarded with ads like, hey, congratulations on your engagement.
yeah,
Like that freaks people out.
yeah,
So we don't want to make those kind of assumptions.
sure.
So providing really good content, whether it's a video or a blog post, it can be something that simple. But I really think the value, especially in that beginning stage, is super, super important.
Yeah. Well, and when we go back to talking about content marketing and using a small but meaningful piece of content to get people warmed up, I think a lot of therapists will struggle with, okay, so maybe I understand the purpose of like an email opt-in, right? And I understand I need to give something away. So what do I give away? Or they go, sometimes they even get stuck there and they go, well, I don't know how to create a PDF or this fancy video. And it can be so simple, right? You can think about
Yes.
what is one question that your clients have, right? And it
Yeah.
could be, how do I meditate if I don't like meditating? And you got three
Right.
steps in a PDF with your logo on it. And that's it, right? It can be that simple. It can and should be that simple, right? It's not like you're delivering them this $30, value book or series or whatever. And that can come
Right.
later. But again, it's important not to get stuck on that. And also to maybe even keep that opt-in fresh over time, or maybe change it every couple months or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I mean, because you're not going to be able to solve all their problems at
Yep.
once, right? So it is picking one thing, one problem that you can help solve, and just sticking with that. And you're right. And it could be, I mean, my first opt-in, I created it like in Word, and then I just put my logo on it and turned it into a PDF, right? So it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be complicated. So, and if you like to write, then you could create a PDF or a blog post. If you like to do video, it could be a video. But so it's what you're comfortable with and what is easy for you to do. However, it's easiest for you to share that content. But keeping it really simple, I think people would be surprised at how much you can get out of just one piece of content. You don't have to create tons and I mean, we all do it. We all have it. Like, I mean, how many blog posts do we all have, and trainings and stuff? But it can be really simple, and actually, that's better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I think it takes the pressure off for people too, who feel really just overwhelmed at the thought of this whole process. So, just kind of reviewing here, part of one's ability to be successful with Facebook ads is having a clear goal, is realizing that you might just be starting a relationship with a consumer or a potential client, right? And you've got to have things in place to kind of further that. Two other things. Questions for you. One is, I think a lot of therapists will also say, well, Facebook said, do you want to spend $10 to boost this post or boost this blog post? And I did it. And I didn't get any clients. So,
Right.
yeah. What's that all about? And let's just
So you're
clarify.
probably not going to get a client from boosting one blog post for $10. That's just not really how it all works. And boosting, I will say there's really nothing wrong with boosting if you're getting started with Facebook ads. it's a quick, easy way just to get an ad up, get comfortable with the whole process. But you've just got to remember, like, where does this fall in your strategy? Yep. You're never going to book a bunch of clients from boosting one post. So think about, if you boost that post and let it run for a while so you can get it in front of more people, and then maybe you share another post and then you can share that with people that are in your audience. So it's building that relationship. It's not just one and done, because you also have to think about what you're asking of people. And if it's a really big ask, that's going to cost more money on Facebook, right?
Yeah,
like
good point.
Likes are really cheap. It's really cheap to get a like because all they have to do is click a button. It's more expensive to get people to give you their email because that's an extra step.
Yep.
To have someone actually give you money or to come in and see you, I mean, that's a big ask. So you've got to keep that in mind, what you're actually asking of people.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so helpful. My last question for you, or the last one that I can think of, is, and we spend a lot of time on the show, I try to help therapists decide, is this something I can do myself or should I hire someone to do it? And I think for a lot of business owners of any kind, that's a constant tipping point. That's a constant fork in the road for business owners. And one that I think can kind of make or break you, right? Whether it's trying to develop your own site or learn HTML because you think you're going to save money that way, like or mopping the floor because you don't want to pay someone to mop the floor, so you do it.
Right.
The list just goes on and on, right? But how do you help people to decide whether they can run their own Facebook ads?
Yeah, I think it comes down to a couple of things. So one, if it's something you want to learn, if you're interested in it, right? And if you want to get in Facebook and set up your ads, then you definitely should. Facebook ads, I do think people think they're more complicated because there's so many options in Facebook. But the truth is you're only going to use about 20% of those options, right? So once you know what buttons to click, it's really not that hard. It's just, there's a learning curve with it. And it's the same thing. I tried to build my own website and that was a disaster. And then 6 months later, I finally hired someone to do it. Yeah. I do think when it comes to Facebook ads, it's important to have, even if you don't want to do it, you don't want to set it up, it's important to have just a basic understanding of how they work so that if you do hire it out, you're hiring the right person and someone that really understands your goals, what you're trying to achieve, and they can lay out a strategy and a game plan for that. So I think that's really the big thing is, just making sure you find someone that understands what your goals are.
Yeah. That's huge. And it's funny you say that because I preach that exact thing a lot, whether it's SEO or websites or whatever it is you're paying for. It's kind of like, I don't know, you take your car in to get repaired, and a lot of us end up in this situation probably where you have no idea what the hell they're talking about. Right. And they're like, you need a new muffler valve with the offset, spring coil. And you're like, well, I guess just do it. And they're like, great, that'll be $700,000. And you're like, well, I guess I have to do it, because I don't know what a muffler is. So I could work on my own car knowledge. Clearly I had to make up parts.
I don't know. I don't think.
But if we knew enough, right? Or if we all knew a bit more about what it takes to change your own oil or what the basic parts of an engine are, we'd be more informed as consumers as to what they're actually talking about and how to not get ripped off. So if you can look under the hood a little bit of, let's say, your own website, or just to know what you don't know, but know what are the basic, kind of devices in this mechanism, then you're going to make a more informed decision.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, if people are looking to hire Facebook ad people, a couple things that I would look for if you want to outsource it is, one, Facebook ads, it's such a huge umbrella. Yeah. So I would make sure you find someone that specializes in local businesses or they work with other therapists, because if they have that background, then they're going to know more about what needs to be in place. So, I run ads mostly for people that are online business owners, like coaches, consultants, and that's what I specialize in. So someone that runs local ads, they're going to do it completely different than I would do it for one of my clients that is working with people all over the world. It's just a different strategy. Also, So finding someone that specializes in that. And then whenever it comes to budget, if someone tells you that you've got to be spending like $100 a day on Facebook, run away.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. If Facebook, and especially for local businesses, because your audience size is smaller, you can start with a small budget. So you always want to start small, test, see what works. And if something's not working, no big deal. You can turn those ads off and move on to something else. You don't have to spend a lot to see what's working when it comes to Facebook ads. So once you know what's working, then you can start spending more. You can bump it up to $100 a day if you want, but you don't need to come out of the gate spending that to get results. When I started this business, I started on $5 a day because it was a brand new business, and that's really all I had for marketing. So $5 a day, and that's what I just started to do to build my list. But be really clear about what your goals are. Like, my goal was to build my list, and that's where I spent my $5 a day. It was on building my list, and that was it. So think about what those goals are. So for you, it may just be building that relationship first, and so you spend your money there. So just keep that in mind. You can always start small and test. I think people also underestimate sometimes how much testing we all do. And if something doesn't work, it's not a big deal. Just move on to the next thing.
That's so huge. And I think a lot of therapists will be relieved to hear that.
I run a lot of ads. And you would be amazed at how many of those ads actually are the winning ads, right? The majority of the ads we test are not the winning ad. So if it doesn't work, great, nix it.
It's still good information. Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe I need to tweak my messaging. Maybe I need to change up my copy or the content. And once you do that a couple of times, you'll start to get a feel for what your audience is responding to. And once you dial into that, you can just keep going with it and what works.
Well, I think in understanding that Facebook ads is an art and a science, much like, and we say this a lot with Google AdWords for my team when they're running AdWords, it's an art and a science, right? So part of it is, creating an ad that is subjective, or the ad copy that's subjective and appealing to something in your consumer, but also taking that information, interpreting it, and using the data that you get back from running the ads and incorporating that into your decision making. And that's where I think a lot of people get hung up. But they also, need to realize there is no golden bullet for your business. Facebook ads isn't going to be one. It's got to be part of a bigger strategy. And you got to kind of end up spending some money to learn some stuff about your audience or about your consumers, or you know what I mean, your targeting and stuff like that. So just to be realistic, right?
Yeah, be realistic. And you, like you said, I can learn just as much from an ad that doesn't work as I can from an ad that, it's never fun when an ad doesn't work the way that you want, but that's just part of the process. And so it can help you really dial in on what does work for your business. You're right, because Facebook ad is not, people love to say, oh my God, I run Facebook ads and now I'm a millionaire, but that's just not how it really works, right? They ran a lot of bad ads to get to that place.
Yes, they did.
Here to do that. Yeah.
And there's just a lot of that kind of bravado floating around the internet that you might see every day of how I, made $1 million a month with my Facebook ads or whatever. So tune that out and just focus on what you need to do to get to that next small step in your business. And that might just be, for a private practice, just building my email list a little bit. Or getting 100 people this month for my email list. Like, that would be huge for a lot of therapists. And kind of growing your reach that way. So start small, do it proportional to the growth of your business, or have a budget that's proportional to the growth of your business, and be doing other things, right? Let this be part of a comprehensive strategy for marketing a local business. So, it should only be one piece of it. Yes. Right. Please. Please. Yeah. And I love to what you said about, like, when you're sending them to your website, you've got to make sure you've got those things in place. Because if you're just sending traffic to a site where people are clicking off, or you can't capture their email, then you really are just kind of throwing money out the window. So you want to make sure you've got those other pieces in place too, so you can make the most out of those Facebook apps. That's right. Yeah. Well, this has been super helpful. I feel like we could probably talk for days about it, but I don't think you have that kind of time. And I've got, kitties and puppies to attend to.
Right.
So do you. But so your company runs Facebook ads for business owners, and you also have a program, right, where you teach business owners to run ads. So tell us a little bit about those, and also how people can get in touch with you.
Yeah, so I do have a course. It's called Facebook Ads in a Weekend, where it really is geared towards beginners. So if
Yeah.
you are just getting started with Facebook ads, it walks you through really step by step the whole process. And so, yeah, it's a really good place if you've never ran Facebook ads or you're just kind of overwhelmed with it. We break everything down so it's real nice and easy. And then on my website, if you head over to sociallabmarketing.com, I've got some ad templates that are free. So put your email in, you'll get a copy of my ad templates. And so I just break down some of our best performing ads so you can see the images that we use, the copy that we use, so you can tweak them and use them for your own ads.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's just a great place to start and start getting kind of getting warmed up to Facebook ads. And again, at some point, make that decision whether you're going to do it yourself or get some help.
Right.
But make that informed decision. So, well, Amy, thanks again for being here. I will put the links to that stuff in the show notes for anyone so they can click through. But yeah, really, really appreciate you being here, and you're a good person to know. So thanks again.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Yeah, see you around. Thanks.
Awesome.